Guys, my head is feeling better by like 90%. So, um, I'm glad about that. Um, I was up pretty late last night. Like I got up from my sleep. My head was still pounding, but um, I had it wrapped. Like you saw, if you watched during the end of the show, like the last like 15 minutes, I don't know. I grabbed something and wrapped it around my head because that helps. And if you just saw me straight on, I'm gonna look really weird, but I did that for the pressure. So I had my head like that after the show for a while. So this morning I just well, this morning I woke up, it was almost 1. But 12 something 'cause I laid outside because I've been trying to get sun on my back, on my bones, trying to help my bones get stronger. And then before I knew it, like I had to pack up orders, go to the post office, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go to the McDonald's and see if they have the pumpkin spice lattes because I see it like online they have it, but I guess my local McDonald's don't have it because you cannot order it. And I was like, boom, maybe soon. Maybe like Arthur was saying, tomorrow's October, so maybe for October look at it here. So this I just made this iced coffee. It's a I'm still using those little pods. So you see Edward's back. Uh, he's back home. So glad. I'm so upset. I blame that asshole, and I blame him too for like contributing to like my stress, my headache. Like, but we're both on the mend, so that's good. Um, so started a new book last night. What do we know? Um, it's called Never Lie, I think. So we know that there's this one woman, Adrienne, who was supposedly dead, although we never know for sure, right? And she is kind of a biatch. She was a psychiatrist, I think. Or she does therapy, like or does sessions in her house. And she thinks that she can tell when somebody is lying. Um, and she's kind of nasty. But she seems to like her patients because she didn't like that person that she thought wore too much makeup criticized her patients and called them crazies. So she has that, I guess. Um, and we know that this couple, this newlywed couple, who we don't know much about, is now in the house, and they were looking at it as like supposedly an open house that this person Judy was having them go to, like or it was to be seen for potential buying. Um, but this is all like I'm saying like supposedly because we don't totally know, right? Like I have a theory that this Judy person, because Ethan likes this house so much, I have a theory that like he maybe has been in this house before and maybe it didn't come from Judy. Maybe it did, but um they don't seem to have any like phone reception to like ask her or anything. It's been a snowstorm and all that. So that's where we lead off. There was a light on upstairs and they were going through every room. There were 6 bedrooms. They went through 5. And then they opened the door to the 6 and that's where the chapter ended last night. So that's where we pick up today. I believe chapter 5 um is where we're at. Pull you guys up. Yeah, we're on chapter 5. Okay, there you are. There's no one here, Ethan announces. He flips the switch inside the last room, setting the space aglow. This room is significantly larger than all the others and looks like it's a master bedroom. There's a king size bed in the center of the room with an ornate wooden headboard. The bed is made up, and when I reach out to finger to touch the cream colored bedspread with the red trim, it too has a thick layer of dust to it. I was just thinking, like, what would I even do if I had six bedrooms? I would probably fill them up with crap. I probably would fill them up with inventory for like my makeup business, but also like puppy bear and things. Um, but it also occurs to me that it probably would get full of dust because how do you keep all those rooms clean? I know that like Aaron's spelling when he had that huge house and Candy's spelling would have like rooms for her dolls and everything. They would have to have like help cleaning like 24/7, which I ain't got time for. Nobody. He taps open the bathroom door and it peeks inside, not even hiding in the bathroom. I can see that. He fiddles with the handle of the knife. So, are you satisfied or do you want me to check under the bed? I don't need him to check under the bed, but it wouldn't be a terrible idea to check the closet. I grab the shiny gold handle of a door near the bathroom and fling it open. It is, as I suspected, a walk-in closet. There's another luxury we don't have in our Manhattan apartment. Rows of expensive looking clothing line the expansive closet. I see tags from Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and Versace, and there's just a hint of a sweet smelling perfume enclosed in the closet, like a tomb. Chanel, I think. I run my fingers over the fabric of a white sweater hanging there. Cashmere. This, more than anything, is evidence that Dr. Adrian Hale is dead, because no woman would voluntarily leave here without taking this gorgeous sweater with her. The fact that they said this, evidence that she's dead, makes me think she's alive. Because if you needed evidence, then she's probably alive, right? Satisfied, Trisha? I pull my fingers away from the cashmere sweater. I don't get it. Why was the light on? Maybe it was a bulb that blew out. I shake my head. It couldn't be. We turned on all the overhead lights and they all worked perfectly. Maybe it was a lamp. I shoot him a look. Ethan throws up his hands. I don't know what you want me to tell you. We checked every room. We've looked in the closet. There's nobody here. I can't argue with him. He's right that we have checked every room and looked as carefully as we can. If there's someone here, they don't want us to find them. Maybe it's better if we don't find them. Fine, I say. Let's go have dinner. Except, if we sleep in one of the bedrooms tonight, I'm definitely locking the door and barricading it. As we walk back down the spiraling stairs to the first floor, I don't feel much better about anything. In fact, I feel more anxious. I'm certain I saw the light on from outside the house, and the fact that none of those lights are on is deeply unsettling. I don't know why Ethan doesn't seem upset about it. Maybe he's just hiding it well. So also though, why would the lights not just that light upstairs, forget about that. What about the lights downstairs, like in the kitchen? And also, what about the fridge? Like, if somebody's been gone for 3 years, like, who's paying the bills to keep the electricity going and all that? Like, wouldn't that have gone out? Like, I'm just saying, like, my electric bills this summer have been like $800. Like, ain't nobody be paying that. If I die, they would turn that right on. They're like, that's a lot. Well, What are you talking about, Edward? You didn't like the hospital food? You don't like your jello? After we get back downstairs, I notice a room off to the side with the door cracked open right by the stairwell. I tap on the door to push it the rest of the way open, and I gasp slightly. Ethan freezes in his steps. What's wrong? He asks. I peer inside this new room. Like many of the rooms in the house, it's huge. And like the living room, the walls are lined with bookcases, all stuffed with books. I don't think I've ever seen this many books in my life. By the window in the corner is a large mahogany desk with a leather chair behind it and a dusty desktop computer sitting on top. The final piece of furniture in the room is a large leather sofa. Dr. Adrian Hale clearly loved leather furnishings. This must have been her office, I breathe. Ethan glances around, an appreciative look on his face. When we live here, I could use this room for my office. I don't want to burst his bubble and tell him that at the moment there's no way in hell I'm willing to consider living in this house. If only because I will forever be terrified that there's a stranger hidden in one of the dark recesses of the second floor. Sure, I'd hardly have to change a thing. He presses a hand against the sofa, testing its integrity. Well, I get rid of all the books, but other than that, it's perfect. Yes, perfect. Over my dead body. Ethan leans in to plant a kiss on my cheek. I'm going to finish making her sandwiches. You can browse her library. Before I have a chance to protest, Ethan has left to return to the kitchen. Return? Okay. I want to follow him, but my legs feel frozen. This office, even more than the rest of the house, it gives me the creeps. This is where she worked. She was almost certainly in this room on the day she disappeared. Even more than the master bedroom, this room feels haunted by her presence. I walk over to the mahogany desk. This room is dusty, but not as bad as the living room. There's just a thin layer of dust over the desk and the computer keys. I pluck a tissue out of a box she has on the desk and run it over the black computer monitor. Then I dust off the seat of the leather chair. I settle down in the chair and it creaks threateningly under my weight. Is this where Dr. Hale wrote The Anatomy of Fear? For a while, it seemed like everybody in the country had read that book. It was the it book, and she never got to enjoy it because soon after it was released, she vanished into thin air. I study the contents of the desk. She's got a pencil holder in the shape of a human brain, loaded up with ballpoint pens. Her keyboard is one of those ergonomic ones, curved so that her hands could lie at a more natural position. And there's another object on the desk that gets my attention. It's a tape recorder. I haven't seen a tape recorder in many years. I vaguely remember my parents having one when I was a little girl, but that's it. It's an outdated piece of technology. I blow the dust off the recorder and pick it up, curious to see what Dr. Hale had been listening to before her disappearance. But it's empty, of course. The police would have taken whatever tape was inside as evidence. Trisha, sandwiches are ready. Ethan's voice floats down the hallway into the office. I lower the tape recorder back onto the desk and leave the office to join him. Chapter 6. Adrian. Before. It is extremely rare for mental health workers to be killed by patients. It happens about once a year in this country. In most instances, the victims are young female caseworkers. The homicides most frequently occur while the victims are visiting residential treatment facilities, and the most likely perpetrators are males with schizophrenia. The majority of victims are killed by gunshot wounds. Not that a psychiatrist who rarely sees inpatients is immune from such an attack. At any moment during a session, my parents could stand up, grab the letter opener off my desk, and jam it through my eye socket. But my risk is relatively low, even though I see patients in my home, which people tell me is a mistake. I feel safe. Also, I don't actually keep a letter opener on my desk. That would be tempting fate. And I take one other precaution. Every single patient I accept treatment is vetted by me personally. I refuse to accept any patients with whom I do not feel comfortable, with one exception, but that will resolve itself soon enough. Right now, my mind isn't on my patients. As I sit at my computer replying to messages via email, I'm currently composing a reply to a message I received yesterday from my former agent, Paige. Dear Adrian, I was shocked and saddened to hear that you wanted to work with another agent at the company for your next project. In addition to being an incredible writer, I have considered you one of my closest friends. I have worked extremely hard nurturing your talent these past years. Can you please let me know what I have done to offend you, and I'll do whatever I can to make it right. Your friend, Paige. It takes all my self restraint not to roll my eyes at Paige's email. She and I are not friends, not even close. I am a trained psychiatrist and psychotherapist. Does she honestly believe that her insincere flattery and overfamiliarity will endear her to me? And how exactly has she nurtured my talent, aside from taking 15% of everything I've made? But the best part of being a best-selling author is that I don't have to answer to people like Paige. I get to call the shots, and my contract is with the agency, not with Paige herself. So my reply to my former agent is extremely succinct. Paige, I'm afraid that I don't feel that you are a good fit for me anymore. Best of luck to you. Sincerely, Adrian Hale, MD, PhD. As I hit send on the email, I wonder how Paige will respond. Will she accept that I don't want her to be my agent anymore and take the rejection gracefully? Or will she haul her Audi back out to Westchester and beg on her knees for me to take her back? I suspect it will be the latter. Human beings don't deal well with rejection. Back when our ancestors were hunters and gatherers, being ostracized from the tribe was akin to a death sentence. For that reason, rejection is experienced by human beings as being incredibly painful. Studies using functional MRI have shown the same areas of the brain become activated both during rejection and during real physical pain. Some people deal with rejection better than others. Paige won't deal with it well. I can already see it unfold, but it doesn't matter. Once I make a decision, I never go back on it. Okay, but what does that mean, rejection? Like, I understand the concept of, like, say you don't have any friends at school. Like, you go to school, it's your first day at school, and you get laughed at, and people are like, what is she wearing? Like, that's not in style anymore. Like, or how about nowadays it'd be like, what kind of cup is that? That's not like a Stanley cup. That cup is so out. Or like next month, that's a Stanley cup. We don't drink Stanley cups anymore. Bye. On Wednesdays we wear pink. But like I get that, like you not having any friends or whatever. But is it the same as like asking somebody if you can enter their vagina and then them saying no? And like, is that literally cause pain? Or what about if you're doing everything possible to get rejected? Like you call the people all kinds of names, and then they're like, you know what? I don't feel comfortable around you. Like, would that also cause pain? Because I feel like no. Or what about applying for a job? A new message pops up in my inbox. The sender is a woman named Susan Jameson, a name I am very familiar with. I click on the new message, already aware of what it is likely to say. Dr. Hale, I appreciate the work you have attempted to do with my son, but I don't feel like he's making any progress. As I told you 2 months earlier, I will no longer be paying for his sessions. I'm sorry he has not been reimbursing you himself out of his allowance, but I must reiterate that I will no longer be financing any of these therapy sessions. I'm sorry if you assumed otherwise. Best, Susan. I look away from the computer screen to the tape recorder sitting on my desk. Ever since I started holding therapy sessions in my home, I have been recording every single one of them. I ask all patients for permission prior to recording the sessions. Although, even when they tell me no, I still record them. Doesn't that remind you of that episode of Mr. or Mrs. Smith when they have the therapy inside the house? And then I think they light the house on fire when they find out they were being recorded. I find the tape recordings of the therapy sessions to be extremely helpful. Yes, I could take notes, as many therapists do, but those could be potentially inaccurate. Tape recordings don't lie. Right now, I use the tapes to refresh my memory, but I envision that someday, at the end of my career, I might listen to the tapes and write a memoir of my experiences. But not now, not for decades. I have many, many years left in my career. On the cassette case for each patient, I write the patient's initials, the number of the session, and the dates. The case currently lying next to the tape recorder reads EJ number 136, and then yesterday's date. EJ is Susan's son. She asked me to work with him about 2 years ago, stating that he had no direction in his life. Within one session, I had diagnosed EJ with narcissistic personality disorder. The characteristics of this diagnosis include a long-term pattern of exaggerated feelings of self-importance, cravings for admiration, and impaired empathy. I press play on the tape recorder and listen to the session from yesterday one more time. How did your job interview go? Oh, it went great. They loved me. I'm sure they'll be begging me to come work there. But honestly, I don't think I could do it. Everyone at the company seems so stupid. I don't think I could work in a place where I'm surrounded by stupidity all day. The moment I first met this man, I immediately disliked him, but I had already met Susan and agreed to see her son, considering telling her no, but I had given her my word, and I did believe that I could help him. Unfortunately, I do not believe it any longer. I cannot help this man. He has no insight into his shortcomings, and he never will. He has no desire to change. And now that his mother is no longer paying me, I have ample excuse to terminate our sessions. I will never have to see him again. Dun dun dun. I've never seen American Horror Story. I'm sure that it's popular though. I was just thinking that NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, I wonder if there's like an opposite version of that that's like also a disorder. Like, is it a disorder to be like too empathetic or too what do they say? He has exaggerated feelings of self-importance. So I guess it'd be exaggerated feelings of self-unimportance. Yeah, and no craving for admiration. I don't know. Sometimes I try to think of like what would be the opposite word for something, or often what would be the male version of something. Like, can you guys help me with this? What's the male version of the word girl boss? Because like I always thought girl boss was like for like little girls to be inspired, I guess from that lady that would sell clothing on eBay. Because she did that, yeah. So I was just thinking, when someone was, yeah. What was it? What did I see? It was like, this is a new something of girl boss. I forget. Maybe it'll come to me. Chapter 7, Trisha, present day. douchebag, cocky, big boss man. Um, okay, but girl boss is a negative connotation with a female. I think like wanting to be successful in business, like financially, I would say more what's the word? Like putting importance on that. Um because I feel like there isn't a term for that for men because I think that men aren't I think men are more insulted if they're not like that. Yeah. It's probably not Vince McMahon. Okay, let me see. Let me see if I can get like a definition that would help, right? Girl boss meaning. Girl boss is a neologism that denotes a woman whose success is defined in opposition to the masculine business world in which she swims upstream. Huh. Okay, let me see. What does girl boss mean? Okay, an ambitious and successful woman, especially a businesswoman or entrepreneur. Okay, what else? A woman who is self-made, running their own business and acting as their own boss. Um, yeah, that's the thing, right? I don't see a male version of that because it would have to be an insult. And I don't think that that's insulting to men. I think that the opposite people use as an insult to men, which I don't think is right either. But anyway, I think that everything becomes insulting because it's just a way to like um, have people like pop like trends, you know? So in order for something to be in, something else seems to have to be out. Just boss, I guess. Anyway, chapter 7, Trisha, present day. A bologna sandwich on white bread with mayonnaise is not exactly the best dinner I've had in my life, but it fills me up and leaves me feeling only slightly nauseous. Ethan has highbrow taste when it comes to food and always manages to score a table at the trendiest new restaurants, but he demolishes the bologna sandwich without complaints. Do you feel better now that you've eaten? He asked me. Yes, I lie. Eating a cold bologna sandwich hasn't made me forget that there could be a stranger lurking on the second floor of the house. Good. He grabs my hand across the table. Mine is freezing cold, but his is surprisingly warm. Jesus, Trisha, you're ice cold. I don't know what he expects. It's well below freezing outside, and there's no heat in this house. We're both still wearing our coats. Yes. I'll tell you what. He rises from his chair and automatically grabs both our plates off the table to clear it. His mother taught him well. Too bad I never got to meet her. Let me figure out the heat. If we got electricity, I bet we can turn the heat on. That would be great. I grab the 2 cups of water from the table and follow him to the kitchen, doing my part as well. You are the best husband ever. Ethan's face lights up. He drops the plates on the kitchen counter and reaches for me. It's awkward since we both have our coats on, but I love how hot his breath is when he kisses me. It's easy to be the best husband ever when I have the best wife ever. Despite his good looks, Ethan was never much of a ladies' man. The day we met at the coffee shop, I was the one who made the first move. He didn't have many girlfriends before me and doesn't have many friends. Some of my friends warned me it's a red flag, but I'm glad he didn't have a gazillion girlfriends before me or a best buddy to compete with. I was always I always dreamed of being best friends with my husband. I hope he still feels that way after what I have to tell him this weekend. I have a terrible feeling that the conversation will not go well. Like everything else in the house, the first floor bathroom is tucked away and challenging to find. I finally locate it under the spiral staircase. It fills me with the vague concern that if somebody were on the stairs, they could potentially fall through the ceiling of the bathroom. But hopefully, the house is better made than that. The bathroom is large but quaint. The bathtub has feet as well as separate handles for hot and cold water. After I relieve myself, I run a wet piece of toilet paper along the vanity mirror over the sink, cleaning off the dust so that I can see my reflection clearly for the first time since we arrived at this house. Wow, I don't look so hot. My hair is blonde with honey highlights and waves courtesy of my curling iron, but right now it's still damp and dark from the snow, and all the waves have been destroyed. Strands are clinging to my skull and my cheeks. My lips are pale, almost blue, and my face is bone white. I grab a tube of lipstick from my purse and apply a healthy coat. There, that's a little better. I try pinching my cheeks to bring back a bit of color to my face, but it's just making me look blotchy, so I stop. Anyway, it's just me and Ethan here. Yes, I want to look my best for my husband, but we've been married for 6 months now. He understands I can't look absolutely perfect all the time. I mean, I'm sure he understands that, even though he always looks frustratingly perfect. When I emerge from the bathroom, I notice yet another bookcase tucked behind the stairwell. Geez, Dr. Adrian Hale sure liked books. Most of the bookcases in the house seem to be related to psychiatry or psychology. All the stuff about the human mind, anyway. But this bookcase is different. This one is filled with paperback novels, guilty pleasures. I scan the rows of books, searching for something that might entertain me if we're stuck here for much longer. I try to imagine the psychiatrist with the intense green eyes, curled up with a Daniel Steele novel. I can't do it. I'm not much of a romance fan either, but she has a few Stephen King novels that are more my speed, and they're long and engaging. I've already read all the Stephen King books on her shelves, but I wouldn't mind rereading a few classics. And anyway, I won't be here long enough to finish it, so there's no point starting something new. First, I pick up the copy of It, but I practically sprain my wrist getting it off the shelf. This one might be a bit long if we're only spending one night. Finally, I decide on The Shining, one of my favorites, and I tip the book out to swipe it from the shelf. Except it doesn't come out. I pull harder on the book, but only the top of it comes free. The bottom seems wedged in place. And when I move the top of the book, I hear a loud click, and the bookcase shifts slightly. What the? I glance over my shoulder. Ethan is nowhere in sight. He probably is still fiddling with the heat. I peer around the side of the bookcase. It's shifted away from the wall. I tug on the side of it, and a concealed door swings out toward me. I blink a few times, unable to believe what I'm seeing. It's a secret room. Oh, hey, pal. Oh, yeah, I heard the storm is really bad. And I heard North Carolina actually got it is really bad. And it's not, none of this is over. Like the damage like that happens. I'm surprised, like I'm just surprised I'm not seeing it more. Like, I feel like these people need funding, they need help getting food. It's a really a nightmare. Okay. Chapter 8. The room is completely dark inside, but it feels small, about the size of the walk-in closet upstairs. I squint into the dark space, trying to get my eyes to adjust. I take another step, and something smacks me in the face. At first, I think it must be a spider web, but then I realize it's a cord. I feel around for a moment, trying to grab it. Then my finger makes contact. I tug on the cord, and there's another click as a single bulb illuminates the room. My eyeballs bulge as I take in the contents of the room. I was right about the small size of the room. Part of me had been scared I might find a dead body stashed in here, but no. The room is filled with more bookcases, wedged into every available space. But these bookcases don't contain books. They are lined with cassette tapes. There must be, God, I don't even know, thousands of them, and each one is labeled the same way, a set of initials, followed by a number, followed by a date. The dates seem to go back almost 10 years, and there are dozens of different initials. The row in front of me is labeled with the initials PL. Those were the same initials of the main subject featured in Dr. Hale's smash best-selling book, The Anatomy of Fear. Could it be the same person? Are these tapes PL's private sessions? And there's one tape that's labeled differently. It's struck at the end of one of the rows, and all it has is one word in big capital letters: Luke. Oh, Tennessee too? Oh no. Another storm? Well, then again, it is right until November, hurricane season. But usually it doesn't go. I mean, you have Florida, Texas. I mean, it's happened that California's been hit. It's more rare. It's even happened in the Northeast, but it's more rare than Florida. Yeah, because Florida is very flat land. Um, so because the ground is so low, it can flood like easier. But the name jogs my memory slightly. Luke, was that the name of the boyfriend who they thought had killed Adrian Hale? It was years ago that the whole thing was splashed all over the front page of every newspaper and on every single news channel. The disappearance of Dr. Adrian Hale. I wondered if the police knew about this hidden room. Vaguely, I hear Ethan calling my name. He's probably got the heater going. I'm sure he's wondering why it's taking me so long in the bathroom. I don't have a reputation for being quick in the bathroom, but this is slow even for me. Just a minute, I yell. Impulsively, I grab one of the many PL tapes from one of the shelves and stuff it into my coat pocket. Then I yank on the cord hanging from the ceiling, and the room is plunged back into darkness. I step out of the room, and as I shove the bookcase back into place, I hear a reassuring click. When I step back now, I can't tell the hidden room is even there. I hurry back into the living room where Ethan is, standing in front of the sofa. He is grinning ear to ear, and he's got a bottle of wine dangling from his right hand. I got the heat going. I shiver. It's still freezing in here. Well, it's going to take a little time to heat such a gigantic space. He nods pointedly at the massive living area. I'd like to point out to him that if we moved in here, our heating bills would be astronomical. But Ethan's got enough family money that he doesn't worry about that sort of stuff. Did you find the bathroom all right? Yes. I shove my right hand into my deep coat pocket and feel the rectangular shape of the cassette tape. This would be the time to tell him about my discovery. There's no reason not to tell him. But he won't want me listening to these tapes. He'll tell me it's none of my business. He always complains I'm a huge busybody. I'm not a busybody, though. I just have a natural sense of curiosity. Is there anything so wrong with that? And look, Ethan holds up the bottle of blood colored wine. I found something to warm us up in the meantime. Oh? He lowers the bottle to read the label. It's a Cabernet Sauvignon. It's from Stellenbosch, South Africa. A wine from South Africa? Oh, yeah, there are a lot of good Cabernets from South Africa. Ethan would know. He's something of a wine expert. He can always tell you what regions are the best for what kinds of wine, what sweet or acidic notes to look for in the wine, and what food pairs best with it. Most of the time, I'm just nodding and pretending to know what he's talking about. So I say, "You stole a bottle of wine." "It's not great wine," he says defensively. I don't know if that's true, although Ethan isn't willing to drink anything cheap, so it must be at least something decent. His favorite wine is Cheval Blanc. And anyway, it's Judy's fault for inviting us here in the middle of a blizzard and not even showing up herself. We need something to entertain ourselves. I'm sure Judy didn't realize there was going to be a blizzard. I say, but it's too late. Ethan is already pouring the wine in two glasses he set up on the coffee table in front of the fireplace. Ethan sits down on the sectional sofa, and I sit down beside him. He picks up one of the wine glasses, fills almost to the brim with dark red liquid, and I reluctantly do the same. He tilts his glass toward mine. "To our new home," he says. Oh, God. Ethan takes a long sip from his wine glass while I contemplate what to do with mine. I can't drink this. Perhaps a sip or two, but not this entire huge glass of wine or anything close to that. And I can't tell Ethan why because he doesn't know that I'm pregnant. What? Why don't you tell him that? That's right. I'm knocked up. It's been 2 weeks since I missed my period, just a little over a week since I peed on a stick, and those two pink lines appeared that would change our entire lives. I'm terrified to tell him my little secret. Before we got married, we both decided we wanted children. I have a sister, but Ethan is an only child, and his parents have passed on. So we were both on board with the idea of having a family of our own. But we agreed no children in the near future. We're relatively young, and we wanted a chance to travel together, to enjoy each other for a couple of years before we brought a baby into the mix. 2 years minimum before we even start trying. That's what we decided. And now here I am, 6 short months after our wedding, a baby on the way. It wasn't my fault. I take my birth control pills religiously. I have a timer set to go off on my phone so I don't forget to take it. But I had a respiratory infection last month and I took some antibiotics for it that they gave me at urgent care. And apparently that made my birth control pills stop working. Who knew? I am absolutely terrified to tell Ethan. Waiting to have children was something he felt strongly about. He wanted us to have this time to ourselves. I have effectively ruined all his plans, and I'm not sure how he's going to take it. Well, not well, I assume. Ethan has a temper. He has never unleashed it on me, but I have observed it in action. He is the CEO of a small startup company that is taking off, and I overheard him once on the phone after one of his employees had screwed something up. My jaw was hanging open at the way he shouted at that poor man on the phone. I had no idea he had it in him. It was a worrying reminder of the fact that I've only known my husband for a little over a year. I don't know yet exactly what he's like. So I've been carrying around this secret for the last week and a half. I have to tell him soon, but I'm dreading it with every fiber of my being. I don't want him to scream at me like he did at that man on the phone. That will be the official end of our honeymoon. I wonder if now is the right time when he's just successfully gotten the heat working. He is excited about the prospect of purchasing this house, even though there's no way we will actually live here. And he's got a glass of wine in his hand, and he's watching me expectantly to see what I think of the wine. I should tell him now, it makes sense, but I don't. Instead, I tip the glass of Cabernet back and let it just barely moisten my tongue. When I lick my lips, delicious. Can you taste the menthol note? I can. Ethan takes another long gulp from his wine glass. while I take another pretend sip from mine. He reaches for my hand and I let him take it. This is nice, he sighs. Hmm. I wonder how long they've been doing that pee on the stick thing. Like, how did people used to? Did they just like know they were pregnant because they'd be like throwing up, or you'd like miss your period and it's like a month later? Like I don't know. I feel like I would never have any idea because like I never keep track of mine. I guess like if it was I don't know when the 1950s. I don't know. The two of us enjoying a bottle of wine together, a good wine, while the fireplace is raging and keeping us warm. And a few kids toddling around, I add, watching his reaction. He laughs, maybe in a few years. Well, at least he didn't completely freak out at the idea of it. I guess it was too much to hope for that I would mention children and he would immediately say, "Yes, I totally changed my mind. Let's get you pregnant right now." He scoots closer to me and throws an arm around my shoulders, drawing me closer to him. It gives me an excuse to lower my wine glass onto the coffee table. It really is nice and cozy, snuggled up with him on the couch. Maybe this house isn't so bad. He seems to love it, and if we decide to live here, it will soften the blow of my surprise pregnancy. But then I glance up at the mantel to the portrait of Dr. Adrian Hale. It feels like she's staring down at us with those piercing green eyes. Her hair is a raging fire around her face. I let out a shudder. Still cold? Ethan murmurs into my hair. No. He follows my gaze to the portrait hanging on the wall. His eyes darken the way they did when he first saw it. I smile sheepishly. Sorry, it's just giving me the creeps. Yeah, I hate it too. A muscle twitches in his jaw. Let me take care of it. What? Before I can ask him what he's doing, Ethan has leaped off the couch and is walking purposefully over to the fireplace. He grabs this heavy wooded frame of the portrait and works it loose from the wall. He lowers the painting to the floor, and after a moment of hesitation, he lays it against the wall, facing away from us. Ethan, I squeeze my hands together, which are suddenly sweaty. You can't do that. Why not? I'll put it back before we leave. It's not like she's going to care. I stare at the space over the mantel, unable to articulate the uneasy feeling in the pit of my stomach. Here we are, spending the evening in Dr. Adrian Hale's house, drinking her wine and now messing with her portrait on the wall. And I swiped one of the tapes from her secret room. I don't believe in ghosts, but if I did, her ghost would be pissed right now. But Ethan doesn't seem bothered by it anymore. Now that he's taken the picture down and it's turned away from us, he sits down beside me again on the sofa and tugs at the top button of my wool coat. Think it's warm enough to take this off? It has warmed up considerably in the last half hour. I let him undo the buttons on my coat, and after he does that, he kisses my neck. Usually that's my sweet spot. I go wild, but right now I feel nothing. We should christen our new house, he murmurs into my neck. I kiss him back, trying to muster up some enthusiasm as he fumbles with the button on my jeans, but I can't seem to enjoy it like I usually do. Even with the portrait turned around, I still feel Dr. Hale's green eyes boring into me. Okay, so my first guess is why he doesn't like the picture is what if Ethan is that person that's a narcissist that she didn't like as a patient? I mean, we didn't get a descriptor of what he looked like. Chapter 9. Well, we do manage to christen the house. It might what it might not be our new house, but we christened somebody's house. So by christen, that means like she just did it even though she didn't want to. And then she just like look up at the sky. Ethan is in a predictably good mood when we are finished. No matter how many times we've had sex, he still acts like it's the greatest thing in the world, and he can't believe he got to score with me. It's sweet. He's a sweet guy. My friends were totally wrong about all the red flags. He's not perfect, but who is? Maybe this is the right time to tell him about the baby. He's in a great mood. He's excited about the house. How can there possibly be a better time? You're quiet, he notes as he zips up his khaki pants. Am I? Yeah, you look pensive. My lips twitch. Pensive? Like you have something on your mind. This is the time I could tell him. Maybe he'll be fine. Oh, wait. Didn't she say, though, that Ethan's mom isn't around or something? Like she wishes she could have met her? But it would have been Ethan's mom if that was writing the email if he was the guy. And maybe he'll be fine with it. He wants kids eventually. No, this isn't like the schedule we planned, but babies happen. You can't control it. I open my mouth, ready to say the words, I'm pregnant, Ethan, but they don't come out, and I'm not sure why. It's because you didn't say them. Listen. Maybe I'm reluctant to give him some surprising and possibly upsetting news when we're stuck in an isolated house, just the two of us, where nobody can hear us and there's no way to leave. I blink, startled by my thoughts. That last one made no sense at all. It must be some sort of pregnancy hormone paranoia. Yes, I'm worried Ethan won't be thrilled about my news, and yes, he has a temper, but he would never hurt me. I know that for a fact. I don't have anything in mind, I say finally. Just a little tired. I grin at him. You wore me out. Ethan beams, proud of himself. He stretches so that I can see some golden blonde hairs on his belly. My husband is so handsome. When I first saw him, I thought he was the most perfect looking man I've ever seen. I figured after I had known him and dated him for a while, I would notice more and more imperfections, and I have identified a few of them. His eyes are too close together. He's a bit on the short side for a man. Those curly golden hairs are not just on his chest, but also on his back. But weirdly, all those imperfections make him even more handsome. I can't explain it. Would it bother you if I took a shower? He asks. A shower? Sure, the hot water seems to be running. He winks. And I've worked up quite a sweat. Yeah, but I don't want to articulate how uncomfortable the idea of him going in the shower here makes me. You don't have a change of clothing. It would still be good to get clean. I rack my brain trying to think of a good reason he shouldn't take a shower. I can't think of anything logical. Are you going to use the master bathroom? I was planning to. Doesn't it make you uncomfortable, though? I mean, the last person who used that bathroom is a dead woman. He shrugs. I guess I don't care that much. I mean, that shrink woman disappeared like 3 years ago. It's not like she used the bathroom yesterday. It's pregnancy hormones. I'm sure that's what's making me so uncomfortable about this. There's no reason Ethan shouldn't take a shower in the master bathroom. Fine. I'm going to stay down here. Sure, finish your wine. Right, that reminds me. I have to pour the rest of my wine down the sink so he thinks I drank it. It's only when I'm watching Ethan disappear up the spiral staircase that I remember the tape I stashed in the pocket of my coat. When I was in the office, I found that tape recorder, but there were no tapes to play in it. Now I found the mother lode. Ethan surely won't want me to listen to the tapes, but if he's going to be busy in the shower, I can do what I want. As soon as the shower starts running upstairs, I retrieve the tape from the pocket of my coat and return to Adrian Hale's office. The tape recorder is right where I left it, on that beautiful mahogany desk. I sit down in the leather chair and examine the buttons on the dusty tape recorder. Record, play, rewind, fast forward, stop, /eject, and pause. Tentatively, I press the stop/eject button. The tape deck pops open. I blow some of the dust off the tape recorder. Then I pick up the tape I found in the hidden room. The initials on it are PL. Next to that, it says number 2, and the date is from about 6 years ago. I remove the tape from the case and shake it out. Then slide it into the tape deck. With one quick movement, I push the tape deck closed. I'm not sure if the batteries in the tape recorder are functional. There's a chance that the eject function is spring loaded or something like that. How long do batteries last if you're not using them? Ethan would probably know the answer to that, but he wouldn't want me listening to these tapes, so I can't ask. I push my index finger against the rewind button. Instantly, I hear a whirring noise as the tape goes back to the beginning. Looks like the battery still works. After about a minute, there's a click, and the rewind process stops. The tape is at the beginning, ready for me to listen. My finger hovers over the play button. Am I really going to do this? Am I really going to listen to the private sessions from Dr. Adrienne Hale that she recorded and hid away in a secret closet? Yes, apparently I am. Chapter 10. Transcript of recording. The whispers say, "Get out." You know, the more I think about the movie Get Out, the more I feel like it's a screenwriting masterpiece. I want to write something in my life as good as the movie Get Out. How could you not listen? Well, I mean, if it might be boring, maybe wouldn't listen. I mean, she has that many tapes, but. Okay, here we go. Chapter 10, transcript of recording. This is session number 2 with PL. A 25-year-old female experiencing PTSD after surviving an extremely traumatic incident. PL. Hi, Dr. Hale. Dr. Hale. You look pale today. Please sit down. I'm okay. I haven't been sleeping well. You mentioned the nightmares during your first visit. Yes, like I'm reliving it, like it's happening all over again. I know you had a lot of trouble talking about it at your first visit, but if you feel more comfortable with me this time, it would help me so much to hear what happened that night in your own words. It's so hard to talk about it. It's easier to talk about other things, but I'm here to help you. I can't help you if I don't know what you went through. Yes, I understand, but please try. You can take your time. We've got the entire session ahead of us. It was just, it was the worst night of my life, Dr. Hale. I lost everything. Just start from the beginning. Well, I mean, we rented the cabin for the weekend, and we were so looking forward to it. We were having such a good time, even though it ended up raining all weekend. We hung out, roasted marshmallows in the fireplace, and then it happened after Cody and I had already gone to sleep. Megan and Alexis had gone off to their own rooms. I was sound asleep. The fresh air always makes me so tired, and we had a few drinks, and then I woke up to screaming. Yes, it was Cody. He was screaming next to me in the bed, and there was blood all over his chest. I woke up, and a man was standing over him, holding a knife. It was hard to see because it was raining out, and the sky was so dark. I couldn't make out his face, but I could see his wet hair plastered to his skull, and I could smell him. He had that wet dog smell, but also something else, something rotten. That sounds terrible. I wake up sometimes during the night and I still smell it. I smell it everywhere in my room, that awful rotten smell. Oh God. And she breaks down crying. It's okay. It's okay to cry. This is a safe space. I can't. Please take a tissue. It's not fair. Cody and I were supposed to get married next week. We were going on our honeymoon to Bermuda. I was supposed to spend the rest of my life with him, and now he's buried in a coffin under the ground. Whenever I think about it, it's okay. It's going to be okay. How? How is it going to be okay, Dr. Hale? The man I was going to marry is dead. My two best friends are dead. My mother always used to say, if there was a nut job within 50 miles, they would find me. And that night he found me. I've got a scar on my belly to remember him by forever. That wasn't your fault, though. It's not fair that they're all gone and I'm still here. I should be dead, too. Don't say that. It's true, Dr. Hale. That's what the doctor told me at the hospital. I could have died. But you didn't. You survived. You're a survivor. You could have bled to death in that cabin, but you ran through the rain and mud and you flagged down a car to help you. That's why you're alive. I don't feel like a survivor. I feel like a mess. I can't sleep. I can't even hold down a job. That's what you're here for, to get better. This is just the beginning. If they had caught him, I could move on. But every time I close my eyes, I imagine he's at my window watching me sleep. The key word is imagine. He's not really there. You don't know that. After all, I'm the only one who can identify him. I'm sure he wants me dead. You can't think that way. You're safe now. If he were going to find you, he would have done it already. This is an impulsive man. I'm going to lose my mind, Dr. Hale. It's all I can think about. Every time I get into my car, I feel like he's following me. As I was driving here, I was sure he was in the car behind me. But you know that's all in your head. I don't know that. You don't know that. For all you know, he did follow me here. Maybe he's waiting outside right now. Maybe the second I open the door to your house, he's going to kill us both. Do you know how unlikely that is? Listen to me. You cannot let the psychopath control your life. You are here to get better. Your family cares about you, and that's why they sent you here. But I'm not getting better. This is just the beginning. You're going to get better. Dr. Hale, I promise you, you will get better. Chapter 11, Trisha, present day. No, I totally feel for the victims that they're not found, they don't get justice. Think of all the unsolved murders. And their loved ones can like spend their lives trying to figure it out or get justice. Like it's such a shame to know they're still out there, you know? Or not even know, like you assume, for all you know, if they were found, they could have been hit by a bus, you know? I know what you did last summer. Oh, who was in that? Like I vaguely remember seeing that movie once. Maybe I should do a rewatch if it's on any of the apps, since it is the spooky season. It is almost Halloween. I feel like Jennifer Love Hewitt because she was in like everything. Trisha, present day. I get about 40 minutes into the tape when I realize that I've been down here for too long. Like me, Ethan is notoriously slow in the bathroom, but even he has got to be done showering and dressing by now. Any minute, he's going to come down here looking for me. I lost track of time. There was something about Dr. Adrian Hale's voice that was simultaneously hypnotic and powerful as she advised the young patient featured in The Anatomy of Fear. See, now I can see why she didn't like that person calling her clients crazy. It's like, this poor woman. Like, you try living like that, you know? She advised the young patient featured in The Anatomy of Fear, whose friends and fiance were murdered by a maniac in a cabin in the woods. When she says, you will get better, it's like the voice of God himself saying it. No wonder she was such a respected psychiatrist. No wonder so many people struggling with major trauma came to her for help. Sure enough, footsteps grow louder on the stairs. I quickly eject the tape and pop it back in the case. I shove the case set into one of her desk drawers seconds before Ethan pops his head into the office. There you are. I force a smile. Here I am. He cocks his head to the side. You weren't nosing through her desk drawers, were you, Trisha? No, I wasn't, I answer truthfully. I hurry out of the office before he can try to figure out what I was doing. He's standing right outside, his hair still damp from the shower. I notice immediately that he isn't wearing the dress shirt and slacks that he had on when we left the apartment. He's wearing a pair of blue jeans bunched up at the ankles and a Yankees t-shirt. Where did those clothes come from? I ask. Oh, Ethan tugs at the collar of the Yankee shirt. I found them in one of the drawers in the bedroom. I hung up my shirt and pants, and I'll put them back on in the morning. The t-shirt and jeans didn't belong to Adrian Hale. They're too big for Ethan, even, and therefore far too big for the psychiatrist's petite frame. But they were in her drawer, so I'm guessing they belonged to her boyfriend, Luke. You might want to change before you go to bed, too, he suggests. There are tons of sleep clothes in the other drawers. What's worse, wearing the clothing of a dead woman or wearing the clothing of the man who killed her? That's fine. I'll just sleep in my bra and underwear. Suit yourself. Do you want to come upstairs now? I look down at my watch. It's getting late, and with the snow still coming down hard, we have little choice but to spend the night here. The idea of it creeps me out more than I thought it would, but we have to do this. I can do this. Fine, I say. Let's go upstairs. I cling to the banister as I follow Ethan up to the second floor, like he's leading me to my execution. It's so dark outside the window that even with the lights on, the stairwell and the hallways are still dark. Probably if someone changed all the bulbs, it would be a comfortable level of brightness. But we're not going to do that now. We're lucky there's any light here at all. I continue following Ethan down the hall, but I stop short when he leads me to the master bedroom. What are you doing? He turns and frowns at me. What? What's wrong? I'm not sleeping in that bedroom. Why not? Because that dead psychiatrist slept there. His shoulders sag. Trisha, stop being silly. The master bedroom is by far the biggest room. This is where we're going to sleep when we're living here. Yeah, over my dead body. Also, he adds, it's the only bed that's made up. I don't even know where she keeps the sheets and stuff. But I don't feel like searching for it. I'm tired and I just want to go to sleep. Aren't you tired? A wave of exhaustion comes over me out of nowhere. That's been happening to me more and more lately in the evening. I'll suddenly feel almost overwhelmed by fatigue. I suppose it's because my body is making an entire other person. In any case, I agree. I don't feel like searching for a linen closet and making up a bed. Fine, I say. We can sleep in the master bedroom. When we get inside, the first thing I do is try to lock the door. After that mysterious light I saw glowing on the second floor, I don't think I'll be able to sleep without the door locked. Unfortunately, it isn't that simple. What are you doing? Ethan asked from over the bed. He has stripped off the blue jeans, but he is still wearing the Yankee shirt. I want to lock the door. I don't think it locks. I whip my head around to glare at him. What kind of bedroom doesn't have a lock on the door? I don't know, Tricia. There's an exasperated note in his voice. We're in the middle of nowhere and she lives alone. Why would she need a lock on her bedroom door when there's already a lock on the front door? Because there might be somebody in her house and she needed to keep them out while she called the cops for help. Speaking of calling for help, I haven't seen one landline phone in this whole house. These days, most people use cell phones, but given how terrible the reception is out here, it seems reasonable she might have a landline just for safety reasons, but I haven't seen one. I back away from the bedroom door, too nervous to take my eyes off it. How are we going to get out of here tomorrow? Ethan adjusts himself in bed. I'm hoping after the storm passes, our cell phone reception will come back. What if it doesn't? Someone will find us soon. His voice is brimming with confidence that I wish I shared. Judy knows we're here. She might be trying to contact us right now. And of course, your mother will come looking for us if she doesn't hear from you in a 24-hour period. That's not true. Oh, come on. You know it is, Trisha. He pats the empty side of the bed. Your family loves you. There's nothing wrong with that. Thankfully, Ethan has not been jealous of my relationship with my parents and sister. We're fairly close, and I do talk to my mother practically every day. Ethan's mother and father both died before we were even dating. It was an accident of some sort, but he doesn't like to talk about it. He clams up at any mention of it. At our tiny wedding, out of the 30 guests who showed up, only 5 of them were Ethan's, all friends, no family. I had to struggle to pare down my guest list, whereas it seemed like he was struggling to come up with 5 people. But there's nothing shameful about wanting only 5 people at your wedding. Frankly, I would have been happier if my mother didn't have to invite her bitter cousin Debbie or my father's perpetually drunk brother-in-law Bob. I flick off the light switch and plop down on the right side of the bed. It's the same side I sleep on in our bed at home. It's weird how we have each picked a side of the bed to sleep on, and neither of us can sleep on the opposite side. We've only been together a little longer than a year, but these habits have already become ingrained. As Ethan wraps his body around mine, his breath immediately grows deeper. I don't know how he can seem so relaxed here. Usually I feel safe and warm wrapped in his arms, but I don't right now. I don't feel safe at all. Chapter 12. Carrie, they probably just put the thing on wrong. Nowadays you just get these, get them at the Home Depot or whatever, in like a little plastic thing, and you screw them on the ring yourself. So sometimes people do them wrong. I've done them wrong. Anyway. It's 3 in the morning, and I'm wide awake. At some point, I drifted off. After we went to bed, I was tossing and turning, and Ethan finally went downstairs and got me a glass of water, insisting it would make me feel better. Somehow it did help, and I drifted off to sleep, but then 2 hours later, I woke up having to pee. Ever since I found out I'm pregnant, I've been running to the bathroom every hour on the hour. I thought that wasn't supposed to happen until the end of the pregnancy, but I'm ahead of the curve. Ethan even commented on it a few days ago, but I couldn't tell him why. I just relieved my bladder 20 minutes ago, but I still can't fall back asleep. I roll my head to look over at Ethan, who is snoring softly next to me. He looks like he's getting an excellent night of sleep in this haunted house. I don't know what's wrong with him. I climb out of bed, the springs on the mattress groaning slightly, but not enough to wake my husband. I walk over to the picture window across the room and stare outside. The lawn in front of the house is completely covered in snow, at least 2 feet of it. All the trees are caked in white. We are not going anywhere anytime soon in Ethan's BMW. Our best chance of leaving is if cell service returns. I realize sleep is a lost cause, so I decide to go downstairs, but it's too cold to go down there in a bra and panties. I rifle through the pile of clothing I took off yesterday, but I'm reluctant to put on jeans and a blouse at 3 in the morning. Then I see the robe hanging from the bathroom door. It surely belonged to Dr. Adrian Hale. It's bright red, like the way her hair looked in certain lights. I walk over to feel the material. It's made of fleece, sensible and warm for a house that gets buried in snow every winter. Before I can second guess myself, I tug the robe off the hook and shove my arms into the holes. It fits me perfectly.
Dr. Hale must have been around the same size as me. It's just as warm and cozy as it looks, and is even better when I wrap the belt around my waist and cinch it closed. There's no way I'm not wearing this robe now that I put it on. It's not like I'm stealing it though. I'm just borrowing it for like an hour tops. I start to leave the bedroom in my bare feet, but then I spot the fuzzy red slippers shoved up against the dresser. Well, if I'm borrowing her robe, I may as well take the matching fuzzy slippers. I shut the bedroom door behind me and make my way slowly and carefully down the spiral staircase to the first floor. I'm not sure exactly what to do down here. My best bet is to find a book to read. That has the best chance of putting me to sleep. I bypass all the bookcases filled with texts about the workings of the mind and head straight to the one in the back, the one stuffed with novels. Of course, that's the bookcase that also conceals the doctor's secret hiding place. I scan the rows of books for the second time. There are plenty of intriguing titles. There's no shortage of things to read. But once again, my eyes are drawn to The Shining, even though I know it's not a real book. Or maybe that's why I'm drawn to it. I shouldn't. I really shouldn't. Almost against my will, my fingers go to the spine of the book. After a split second hesitation, I pull it out the same way I did before, and once again I hear that click. The bookcase shifts. The hidden room is now open. It's easier the second time, especially knowing that Ethan is sound asleep upstairs and won't walk in on me. I pull the door open and immediately find the cord for the light switch with my hand. The single bulb flickers on, revealing once again the rows and rows of cassette tapes. Given how well organized this room still is, I have a feeling the police never found it. If they had, it would probably be in disarray. But all the tapes are meticulously arranged, going back 10 years, with the most recent dates about 3 years ago. Right before her disappearance, it occurs to me that if the police had listened to these tapes, they might have discovered clues to help them figure out what happened to her. After all, it seemed like she was still making recordings right until when she disappeared, maybe the very same day.
She's Scooby Doo now. She's going to solve the mystery. As I examine the tapes, I figure out she has a labeling system beyond just the initials, session number, and date. She also codes them, color codes them. The first session seemed to be labeled with blue ink, then all subsequent ones in black ink, with the final session in red. The pattern repeats over and over again except for one. There's a long row of tapes with the initials EJ on them. Is it E like Ethan? That has a tape labeled in red, the last session. But then, right after, the tapes resume with the date just a week later. So it seems like Dr. Hale had her last session with this EJ person, then started up again almost right after. And there's no final session. The tape with those initials has a black pen on it. That means she was still seeing this patient at the time of her disappearance. I pluck the tape with the red marker off the shelf. Perhaps it's a privacy violation for me to listen, but it's not like there are any real names on it, and it's not like I'm going to get any sleep tonight. Chapter 13, Transcript of the Recording. This is session number 137 with EJ, a 29-year-old man with narcissistic personality disorder. This will be our final session. EJ. Hiya, Doc. How you doing? I'm well. How are you? I got you a present. Oh? It's a bottle of Rustenburg Cabernet Sauvignon. It's from South Africa, so it's got eucalyptus notes. Well, thank you. I don't know how much you know about wine pairing, but this is a wine you want to eat with steak or a dish that has a heavy, buttery, creamy sauce. It makes the wine earthier because it neutralizes the tannins. I appreciate the tip. Please have a seat. Yeah, sure. Of course. I love this part, where I get to sit on your couch. Yes, listen. It's a nice one too, real leather. You must make the big bucks, Doc. You probably don't even need me buying you bottles of wine, and you don't even take insurance. Yes, actually, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. About what? Insurance? I haven't used that. My mom has been paying for all the sessions. That's the thing, she hasn't. I have explained to you multiple times that she feels you have not made enough progress during these sessions, and she doesn't want to pay for them anymore. And as you know, I don't take insurance. But I disagree. I feel we have made a lot of progress. This really helps me. I like coming here. Whether or not you have the potential to progress during these sessions is reasonable that she doesn't want to continue paying after you have been coming to me for over 2 years. Well, that's dumb. Regardless, this is her decision, and as I explained to you in our last several sessions, I have not received payment for 2 months now. Oh, I get it. This is about money. Unfortunately, this is a business. I have bills to pay, and if you're not compensating me for my services, but I don't have any money, or I don't have the money, Doc. You're expensive. Who can afford that? I'm not rich like my parents. All I get is this tiny allowance that barely even covers my rent and car. We have spoken multiple times about how beneficial it would be if you look for a job. Doc, I'm trying, okay? I can't get a job. It's not that easy. I don't have a bunch of fancy degrees like you do. You're a college graduate. Yeah, so what? Everybody's a college graduate. Look, I'll pay you eventually. You have my word. Can't I have a tab? I'm afraid that wouldn't be fair. Fair to who? Fair to the people who pay for these sessions. That's bullshit, Doc. And it's not like you need the money. I mean, you had the best-selling book. I bet you made a fortune. Look at this place you got here. You should pay me to hear all my interesting life stories. What? Okay. Where was I? That's irrelevant. Sure it is. I bet you could write a whole book about my life. You'd probably make $1 million off it. That would pay for my sessions, wouldn't it? It doesn't work that way. So you're just gonna cut me off because I can't afford your sessions anymore. Goodbye and good luck. I'm sorry. I've spoken to a colleague of mine who accepts your insurance, and he would be happy to take you on as a patient. I've got his number right here. So that's it. You're dumping me. I'm not dumping you. I'm referring you to a colleague. If you're able to pay for my sessions in the future, yeah, I'll bet my money's good enough for you, but I'm not. That's not true at all. I just can't. I should go to the papers about this. I can just see the news story. Big, fancy, Harvard educated psychiatrist cuts off a patient in need because he doesn't have enough money. I don't think the newspapers would be interested in a story like that, but do what you must. This is all an excuse, isn't it? You don't actually care about me. What are you talking about? You're probably thrilled about this. You were just waiting for an opportunity to dump me as a patient. That's not true. Bullshit. You were pretending to care about me this whole time. You never cared, though. I care about you, but I can't provide my services for free. You're a real piece of work, Doc. I can't believe you. And after I came here with a gift for you, you can have the wine back if you want it. I don't. Keep it. As I said, I'm sorry. Sorry? You don't even know what sorry is. You're gonna be really sorry you kicked me out of here. You hear me, dog? I'm gonna have to ask you to leave now. Fine, I'll leave. Now that I know what you're really like, I wouldn't keep coming to you if you begged me. And I bet everything, someday you will beg me. Chapter 14. Trisha. Present day. Oh, hey, Johnny. As the tape ends with a click, I push away a queasy feeling in my stomach. The man on the tape, EJ, was threatening Dr. Hale. Her voice stayed calm through the whole thing, but she had to have been a little shaken. She was just good at hiding it. Would the police have looked for EJ after Dr. Hale disappeared? Maybe not. It's not clear whether she kept a list of her patients. And the newspapers didn't list other suspects besides her boyfriend. Also, there was something creepy about his voice. I can't put my finger on it. Something creepy and also familiar. It hits me now that he mentioned in the beginning of the tape that he had brought her a bottle of wine, a bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon from South Africa. When Ethan brought out the wine, he mentioned it was from South Africa. Was it the same bottle of wine? It seems too much of a coincidence that Dr. Hale had two bottles of Cabernet Sauvignon from Africa. It had to have been the same bottle. She must have never opened the bottle and stashed it away somewhere. I wonder where Ethan even found the bottle. He never told me. In any case, Dr. Hale intended to terminate her sessions with EJ, yet there are several more tapes with his initials on them made subsequent to this recording. Did he somehow come up with the money to pay? Even if he did, I would have been shocked if she took him back after the way he threatened her. Yet she took him back. She clearly did, but why? The only way to know would be to listen to the next tape. I stand up from Dr. Hale's desk, intending to go back to the hidden room and find the next tape in the EJ series. But before I can get out of the room, I hear a crash coming from somewhere nearby. I freeze and clasp a hand over my mouth. What was that? Did Ethan come downstairs? That's gotta be what the sound was. But in my heart, I know it isn't. We saw a light on upstairs when we were approaching the house. The refrigerator is filled with newly purchased food, and there was a half-drunk glass of water on the kitchen counter. Yes, we checked every room, but I'm not convinced. This house has a lot of secret places and passages to hide. Of course, there's one other possibility. Perhaps this house is haunted by the ghost of Adrian Hale. Perhaps her soul is restless because her murderer is still out there. Maybe she's mad that I put on her red robe. Oh God, pregnancy is making me paranoid. Much like the bedroom upstairs, there's no lock on the door to the office. That means I can't even barricade myself in the room overnight. And there's no way to contact Ethan and try to wake him up. My only comforting thought is that it seems like whoever is in the house doesn't want to be found. Then again, maybe they don't want to be found by Ethan, but would be less bothered about being found by a smaller, less muscular person. In any case, I'm not spending the night in this office. I rifle through the other drawers in the desk, looking for something I can use as a weapon. The first drawer is mostly filled with papers and the cassette tape I had stuffed inside earlier. The second drawer has more papers and a roll of duct tape. My father always claims there are a million uses for duct tape, but I don't think it can be a weapon. I can't imagine fashioning duct tape into a knife. The third drawer has more office supplies, including a pair of scissors that look pretty sharp. It'll have to do. Armed with the pair of scissors, I grab the doorknob and twist it. I keep the scissors in my right hand as I yank the door open, and I'm ready to confront whoever is out there. Except the living room outside the door is completely silent. Hello? I call out. No answer. My hand holding the scissors is shaking. I take a few steps forward, squinting into the mostly dark living room. I spot a light switch and flip it on. my grip tightening on the scissors. No, still nobody. My breathing slows. I don't see anyone out here. No trace of movement anywhere. The living room is silent and empty. I don't know what that sound was, but it could have come from upstairs. After all, there is another person in this house, Ethan. But then my heart drops into my stomach. The painting of Dr. Adrian Hale, the one that Ethan took down and placed facing away from us, it's back on the wall, and Dr. Hale's green eyes are boring into me. Chapter 15. I wonder if you could make pantyhose out of duct tape. It takes all my self-restraint to keep from screaming. I could have accepted that we imagined the light in the window, or that it was some optical illusion. I could have even reluctantly accepted that Judy might have purchased some white bread and bologna for the refrigerator. But that portrait, Ethan took it down. I saw him take it down. It wasn't on the wall when we went to bed, and now it is. Still gripping the scissors, I race up the spiral stairs, so fast that I nearly trip and topple down. Thankfully, I regain my balance and make it the rest of the way to the bedroom. I fling open the door to the master bedroom, where Ethan is still sound asleep. I close the door behind me, looking around for something to wedge under the doorknob. There's a trunk in the corner of the room that looks sort of heavy. I can shift it over so that it blocks the door. It won't stop anyone from coming in here, but it will slow them down. Ethan is stirring in the bed from all the noise I'm making. He rubs his eyes. Trisha? There's someone downstairs. I can't keep the panic out of my voice. Somebody's in the living room. Ethan sits up in bed, his eyes suddenly wide open. You saw someone down there? Well, no, but I heard a noise. He groans. Christ, Trisha, all this over a noise? It was probably the house settling. It was not the goddamn house settling. It was a crash. He still doesn't seem perturbed. So, it was some snow sliding off the roof. I mean, I can think of a million things that would make a noise like that. He inhales sharply at the sight of the scissors in my hand. What the hell are you doing with those? There's an intruder in the house. Yeah, but he rubs his eyes again. What do you think? That somebody's burglarizing us during a blizzard in the middle of nowhere? Maybe somebody was squatting here and they're still here in the house somewhere. Maybe. Of course, that doesn't explain what I saw downstairs. The painting was moved. Why would a squatter do that? The painting was moved, I finally say. That's how I know somebody was down there. That's what you're worried about? A crease forms between Ethan's eyebrows. I moved the painting. You did? It didn't even occur to me that he would have put the painting back. I guess we agreed that we would fix anything we moved before we left the house. I suppose he must have done it when he went downstairs to get me water. Trisha, you're freaking me out. He reaches for me, his hand landing on my shoulder. Are you okay? Maybe it's the pregnancy making me paranoid, but I can't tell him that. I'm fine. I got scared for a minute. Can you please put down the scissors? Obligingly, I allow Ethan to pry the scissors out of my hand and put them on the dresser. When the scissors are safely out of the way, he wraps his arms around me. I rest my head on his right shoulder and feel instantly better. I'm lucky that he's so level-headed. I tend to get worked up easily over things. So he's a good balance for me. I'm really lucky to have him. Nobody else is in this house but us. He laces one of his hands into mine. And even if there were, I would protect you. You promise? I promise. He squeezes my body close to his. We're a team now, you and me. We are always there for each other, no matter what. I'm here for you, Trisha. For the rest of our lives, I promise you that. I'll never let anything happen to you. My heart rate gradually slows. He's probably right about the crash. There are plenty of things that could have made a loud noise. Hell, it could have been the dishes we precariously stacked in the kitchen. Anything could have done it. We looked everywhere and didn't see another soul in the house. I love you, he says. I love you too. We lie back down together in the bed, his arms still wrapped around me. It occurs to me right now is the perfect time to tell him about the baby. It's such a wonderful moment between the two of us, but as I sink deeper into his arms, I feel suddenly exhausted. I don't have the energy to have that conversation with him right now. All I want is to go to sleep, and the next thing I know, I'm drifting off. Chapter 16. Adrian. Before. I'm running late. I tap my fingers impatiently on the steering wheel, but this is not like me. I pride myself on always being prompt. But I was finishing up the last chapter of my proof copy of The Anatomy of Fear, and I just couldn't stop reading. I'm so incredibly proud of that book. It's a conglomeration of the personal accounts of several patients who have survived intense fear inducing incidents and my expert analysis of those accounts as well as advice to readers who may have experienced something similar. This book will really help people. It's my crowning achievement. The light in front of me turns from yellow to red. Good God, it will take an eternity to wait for another green light at this intersection. Without thinking about it, I shove my foot onto the gas pedal to breeze through, seconds after the light has turned. I hold my breath for a second, bracing myself for the sound of police sirens. But they don't come. Technically, I went through a red light. While I don't endorse breaking the law, there are mental health benefits to doing so. A psychological study demonstrated that cheating or breaking rules results in an unexpectedly good mood afterward, as well as a brief sense of freedom from all rules. So perhaps we should all bend the rules sometimes. I reached the mall parking lot. That's why, you know, normally you have a hat on with the cap forward, but sometimes I'll wear the cap backwards. It's like, yeah, I know it's for blocking the sun, but I don't care. Backwards. Because I'm badass and I don't follow the rules. I reach the mall parking lot with 1 minute to spare until my clinic begins. I don't advise this fact, but once a week I volunteer my time at a low income clinic in the Bronx. I handle medication management for patients with serious psychiatric issues. I'm the only psychiatrist they have at the clinic, and these patients are desperate for my help. Many have been waiting years to see a trained psychiatrist. The sessions I have at my house are the ones that pay the bills. And while I do have some challenging patients who have been through real trauma, like some of the people in my latest book, the majority of my roster is composed of unfulfilled housewives of rich bankers or lawyers or else their adult children like EJ who are going to my sessions on their parents' dime, a desperate attempt to push them out of the nest. The patients at the free clinic need me. I make a real difference here. I even donated a sizable chunk of my book earnings to the clinic when I found out they were in financial trouble and might shut down. It's lunchtime and a beautiful day, so the strip mall parking lot is packed with cars. There is. I'm already running late, and my blood pressure escalates as I cruise down the lanes in a row without finding any parking. There is a spillover lot, but it's a 10-minute hike back to the clinic from there. The clinic has booked back to back patients, and many of these appointments run over their meager allotted time, so I can't afford to be late. I finally see a spot at the end of the fourth aisle. I check. Thank God, I'll only be about a minute late. I roll down the aisle making a beeline for the spot with my turn signal on, but a split second before I can get there, a red Jetta turns into the aisle, tires squealing. Before I can blink my eyes, the car dives into the empty spot. Oh my God, have you ever had somebody swerve in and take a spot you were going to get? I hate that.
I sit there in my Lexus, the turn signal still blinking. Usually, I don't let things bother me, but I've got to get to my clinic. My first patient is a man with schizophrenia who is convinced that he is Superman, and I want to see if the new dose of jhhjyytu will be enough to keep him from making a flying leap off the roof of a building with the presumption that he will soar through the air. I don't have time to spend the next 10 minutes searching for parking, so I do something I shouldn't do. I lay the palm of my hand onto my horn and let it rip. I don't know. I know the second the sound rings out that it's absolutely the wrong thing to do. Perhaps if I got out of the car and explained my dilemma, he might have listened. But then again, the driver knew I was waiting for the spot. He knew exactly what he was doing. A man in his 30s with short hair and a pair of Ray-Bans pushed up the bridge of his nose, gets out of his vehicle. I honk again. He grins at me with a mouth full of white teeth and sticks up his middle finger. Then he walks away. He has a lot of nerve. As he walks right in front of my car, I muse to myself that all I would have to do is switch my foot from the brake to the gas, and it would change his entire world. It would wipe that smirk off his face, that's for sure. But I'm a civilized person. I will not mow down a pedestrian in the middle of a crowded parking lot. What I'm going to do is calmly find another parking spot. When I arrive at the clinic, I'm huffing and puffing and sincerely regretting my choice of heels. I will certainly have blisters tonight, and after all that, I'm still 15 minutes late. It's an embarrassment, not to mention my pink face, my hair coming loose from the French twist I carefully tied, and the beads of sweat on my forehead. Dr. Hale! Gloria, the plump middle aged receptionist, beams at me when I walk in. How are you? Those three useless words. How does she think I am? I'm sweating like a pig. Is Mr. Harris in the room? Actually, he rescheduled, she smiles, revealing a gold filling right in front. So you have 5 minutes until your first patient. I feel a rush of relief, accompanied by a flash of annoyance, that Gloria couldn't have called or texted me to inform me of the canceled visit. She manages to track down the phone number of every single eligible male in her family between the ages of 30 and 50, but she can't manage to give me a heads up about a cancellation. Hey, Adrian, how's it going? I swivel my head to the computer station behind the front desk, peering at the man navigating the screen with an ergonomic mouse. When I donated money to the clinic, part of it was earmarked to convert the entire clinic from paper records to electronic medical records. I found the entire paper system maddening, and it allowed things to fall through the cracks to the detriment of my patients. And this man, Luke Strauss, has been enlisted to help the clinic transition. Technically, he works for the EMR company, but it seems like he has become a full-time employee at the clinic recently, as the technology illiterate clinicians struggle with the new system. I must admit that I am one of them, although in the end it will pay off. Electronic medical records are the present. This clinic was living in the past. It's been a rough morning, I admit, because I believe Luke actually wants to know the answer. Yeah, he cocks his head to the side. I can see that. How about some coffee? It is not in any way Luke's job to get me coffee, but I know from experience that he will insist on getting it, despite my protests. So instead, I nod, thank you. He winks at me, one cream, no sugar. He's got it right, not that I'm surprised. Gloria follows Luke with her eyes as he darts back to the break room to pour me a cup of cheap coffee. When he's out of sight, she grins at me. He's cute, isn't he? I shrug because I don't want to encourage her. Is Luke Strauss cute? I suppose some women would think so. Women who like men that walk around in dress shirts, badly in need of ironing, poorly knotted ties,
dark brown hair that looks like he rolled out of bed 5 minutes ago, eyeglasses smudged at the edges, and jaws that should have been shaved yesterday. Would it kill him to tuck in his shirt? I rarely date, but when I do, I don't date slobs. The best I can say is he smells of fresh soup. He's a clean slob, but a slob nonetheless. Or, sorry, fresh soap. Fresh soup would probably be. I don't know. There probably is a perfume that smells like soup, but I don't know what flavor. And he likes you, Gloria adds. I pretend not to hear her. I don't want to acknowledge that I am aware Luke likes me. However, I do not wish this relationship to progress past him fetching me coffee and showing me how to send a prescription for Seroquel to the outpatient pharmacy. Luke returns with my cup of coffee. The liquid is black, and he's brought me a little cup of cream on the side, as well as a stirring stick in the cup itself. I didn't even have to tell him that's how I wanted it. Somehow he figured out that I wanted to add the cream myself. Thank you, I say. The corner of his lips quirks up. I hope that helps. I pour the container of cream into my coffee. I stir it slowly until the black morphs into a tan color. I take a long sip and let out a sigh. I needed that. You must be exhausted, Doc, Gloria remarks. You got that big drive both ways. What is it, an hour? My fingers dig into my coffee cup. Something like that. Luke arches an eyebrow. You live in Manhattan? No, she doesn't. Gloria won't let me get a word in edgewise. She lives out in Westchester in a fancy schmancy house all by herself. I silently curse the fact that Gloria is privy to my home address, but I appreciate that Luke didn't know. He may have a pointless and irritating crush on me, but he's not a stalker, I'll give him that much. It's not safe out there, Gloria rambles on, all by yourself in the middle of nowhere. You probably don't even have an alarm system. It's an echo of what Paige said to me when she dropped off the proof copy of my book. Why is everyone so convinced I can't take care of myself? I'm fine, really. Luke looks up at me from the computer. He has long eyelashes for a man. A security system isn't a bad idea. I just put one in for my mother. It was easy, and now I feel like she's a lot safer. Gloria shoots me a look as if to say, see, I told you that you need an alarm system, and also, Luke is such a wonderful son to his mother. Don't you want to go out with him? I smile thinly. I'll think about it. I won't think about it. I'm perfectly fine the way I am. Chapter 17, Trisha, present day. I managed to sleep through the entire rest of the night, and according to my watch, it's almost 9 o'clock when I wake up in the next morning. Ethan isn't in the bedroom anymore, but there's a piece of paper on his side of the bed. It's a note for me. He scribbled in black ink, making breakfast downstairs, didn't want to wake you. He's so thoughtful. I reach for my purse that I left on the nightstand. The first thing I do is grab my phone. Still no service. I wonder if Ethan had better luck. I doubt it. I do a few stretches in the bed, then I force myself to get up and walk over to the gigantic window near the bed and stare out at our surroundings. Oh my God, there's a lot of snow. Everything is covered in a thick blanket of white. Every tree, every bush, and the road we took to get here is decimated by snow. I'm sure the BMW is probably just a big lump of white at this point. We aren't getting out of here soon, that much is certain. I have to make the best of this time. I can't bring myself to take a shower in that bathroom, but I brush my teeth with my finger using what I assume is 3-year-old toothpaste. It makes me feel a little better. My honey blonde hair is a complete rat's nest after last night. I splash some water on it, then do my best to comb it out using my fingers. There's a hairbrush on one of the shelves in the bathroom, which still has a few dull red strands in it. I'm not touching that hairbrush. My fingers will have to do the trick. I throw on my jeans and blouse from last night as well as my socks, which are dry but slightly crusty. It does seem a bit of a shame to be wearing my old clothing when there's an entire walk-in closet filled with designer outfits in approximately my size, but I'm not touching any of that stuff. It's too creepy. When I get down the stairs, I can hear Ethan singing to himself in the kitchen. I pass the living room and discover he's taken the portrait down again. I'm obscenely grateful that he took it down again, so I won't have Dr. Hale staring at me. We just have to remember to put it back before we leave. When I get to the kitchen, Ethan is wearing the Yankee shirt again and the two long blue jeans. Now that I'm closer, I can make out what song he's singing. I'm walking on sunshine. He always likes to sing in the shower or while he's cooking. He actually has a nice singing voice, but he rarely belts it out quite like this. He is in a really good mood. Hey, Trisha. He winks at me as he stirs something in the frying pan. Sleep okay? What is he frying, Blummy? I nod. What are you making? I found some eggs. He says the words. The smell of eggs hits me. All at once, my stomach lurches. I try to suppress it, but I can't. I race over to the kitchen sink and vomit up the residuals of the bologna sandwich I ate last night, while Ethan looks on in horror. The vomiting seems to go on for several minutes, followed by another good minute of retching. I guess this is what morning sickness is like. Jesus Christ! He shuts off the stove. Are you all right? Uh-huh. I run the faucet and scoop up a little water with my hand to rinse out my mouth. I hate vomiting. Not that anyone likes vomiting, but I find it particularly distasteful. I'm fine. Was it something you ate? No, you just what? Ethan is staring at me now. His forehead bunches up. He's really worried about me. I could lie and blame it on the bologna sandwich, but I have to tell him eventually. May as well get it over with. There's something I need to tell you, Ethan. His eyes darken. Okay? Tell him. Just tell him you was. What's he gonna do? Fly into a furious rage, murder you, and bury your body in the snow? I'm pregnant, I blurt out. His mouth falls open. The fork he had been holding clatters to the kitchen table. I'm so sorry. It wasn't intentional, obviously. It just happened, you know. One of those things. I'm rambling now, but I can't help it. I was using my birth control, and did you know antibiotics keep birth control from working? I didn't know that. And anyway, so I just found out, well, about a week ago, and I know we said we were going to wait 2 years, but hang on. He holds up a hand. This is for sure. You're definitely pregnant. I hang my head. Yes, I'm sorry. That's so. Ethan's quiet for a second, searching for the right words. I brace myself. That's so great. That's fantastic. I take a step back, trying to figure out if I've heard him right. What? Thought you wanted to wait. Well, he scratches at the back of his neck. I thought you wanted to wait. Honestly, I wanted to start a family right away, but I didn't want to freak you out. I've already traveled and done all that stuff, but what I really want right now is to have a baby. He reaches out to take both my hands in his arms. With you. It feels like an enormous boulder has been lifted off my shoulders. You mean that? You're not just saying that to make me feel better? No, why do you think I've been wanting to buy a house? I want to fill it with kids. Oh my God, I squeeze his hands in mine. This is such a relief. I thought you were going to be so angry when you found out. He raises an eyebrow. When do I ever get angry with you? He has a point. He's never angry with me. Annoyed sometimes, but he always seems even-tempered around me. But there was that phone call I overheard with his employee, where he was screaming at the poor guy, but I can't bring that up. He chuckles. No wonder you've been acting so nutty. It all makes sense now. I bristle slightly. I don't think I've been acting that nutty. Although I suppose I did barricade the bedroom door at 3 in the morning. I'm going to throw out these eggs. Ethan lifts the frying pan off the stove. They obviously don't agree with you. I'll make you some toast. You don't have to do that. He leans over and kisses me on the tip of my nose. Will you please let me take care of my pregnant wife? Fine then. I feel myself smiling. Also, thank you for taking the portrait down again. It was really freaking me out. Again? Right. I watch as he scrapes the partially cooked eggs off the frying pan. I assume you took it down again this morning. Ethan looks at me like I've lost my mind. No, I took it down last night, remember? We were sitting together on the couch and it was freaking you out, so I took it down. No, my good mood is evaporating. You said that you put it back up last night, like when you went down for water. I never put it back up. Why would I do that? Because you said you did. Beads of sweat are spouting on my palms. At 3 in the morning, I asked you if you put the painting up again, and you said you did. No, you asked me if I moved it last night, and I said I did. I moved it when we were sitting on the couch. I took it down. You saw me take it down. Oh God, this is not what I needed to hear. Ethan, last night when I went downstairs, the painting was back up. So if you didn't do it, somebody else did. He drops the frying pan in the sink with a clank and turns to look at me. I don't understand what you're saying, Trisha. You think somebody came into the living room and put the painting back up? Then, later in the night, they took it back down? That's what you think? Well, when he says it like that, I know it sounds wild. A bit. But I know what I saw. Do you? I glare at him. He's seriously losing all the good husband points he earned a few minutes ago. Yes. I'm just saying. He folds his muscular arms across his chest. It was 3 in the morning. The house is really dark. You were kind of sleepy and out of it. Is it possible you could be mistaken? No, it's not possible. Are you sure? I want to shout at him that I know what I saw. I could never imagine those green eyes staring at me. It's not something I could make a mistake about. But the more times he asks me about it, the more I wonder. It was the middle of the night, and the house is very dark. It is possible that I could have thought I saw it like a mirage. I guess it's possible, I mumble. Ethan seems satisfied with this, but I'm not. Something is going on with this house. I'm sure of it. Even though he doesn't believe me. Chapter 18. After breakfast, we regroup at the kitchen table and come up with a plan to get out of here. Neither of us have cell service, and there are no landlines to be found in the house. Moreover, the storm last night dumped what looks like 10 feet of snow on the area surrounding the house. We can just barely see Ethan's BMW from the window, and it looks like it's just a big mound of snow. He's got a shovel in the trunk, but it won't be enough. Not enough to get out of here anyway. I'm hoping a plow will come at some point. Ethan says, I assume Judy will have called one. Yeah, he looks more optimistic than I feel. Maybe. Look, worst comes to worst, we may be stuck here for the day. We got food and water and electricity. It's not that bad. Yeah. He places his palms on the kitchen table and pushes himself to his feet. I'm going to head over to the car and get my laptop so I can do some work. Do you want me to get anything for you? My stomach sinks. You're leaving me here? Just for like 15 minutes. It won't be 15 minutes. It took us almost 15 minutes to walk from the car to the house last night in all that snow. I want to go with you. Absolutely not, Trisha. You're pregnant. And you have wholly inadequate footwear. I suppose he's got a point. It wouldn't be right to make him carry me piggyback to the car and back. Of course, I could borrow a pair of Dr. Hale's boots. We do seem to be the same size. No, I'm not doing that. Fine, I grumble, but you promise you'll hurry back? I'll be fine. I'll be back before you can say dream house. I'm not saying dream house. I clear our plates away while Ethan goes over to the front door, where he left his coat and boots. I watch him shove his feet into his black boots, suppressing the urge to cling to his leg and beg him not to leave me here. Then again, in the light of day, the house isn't nearly as frightening, and when I see the portrait on the floor, facing away from me, it seems impossible that it was up on the wall last night. It seems more like some sort of wild dream. Ethan blows me a kiss from the front door, stuffs his beanie onto his blonde hair, and then he's gone, and I'm all alone. I take a few slow, deep breaths, trying not to panic. I wish there were a television in this house so I could zone out in front of a screen, but I haven't been able to find one in all my travels. I guess Dr. Hale didn't have a television. What sort of psychopath doesn't own a television in this century? It only makes me want to learn more about her, and of course, my thoughts immediately go back to the cassette tapes. Ethan won't make it back from the car for at least half an hour. That will give me time to listen to at least part of a couple more tapes. I am dying to know what happened in the session after the one I just listened to. Why did she agree to take that man back? Dr. Adrian Hale does not strike me as a pushover. Before I can second guess myself, I hurry to the bookcase in the back. I don't even hesitate before I locate The Shining and tug on the spine. I hear that now familiar click, and I slip inside the room, grabbing the cord to turn on the light. This time, I decide to swipe a bunch of the tapes. I can stash them in one of the drawers in the office. I take all the EJ ones recorded after the tape marked in red. Then I take a selection of other tapes from around the same date. It must have been right before Dr. Hale disappeared, because there's nothing recorded later than that. I'm going to hear the information that the police missed. I'll listen to everything that happened to Dr. Hale in the months leading to her disappearance, the mystery that the entire country was talking about for almost a year. I can scan the shelves one more time. That's when the one tape labeled differently catches my eye once again. Luke, the boyfriend, the one the police thought killed her. Why does she have a recording of him? Was he her patient? But if he was, why is the tape labeled differently than all the others? My mother always said I'm too curious for my own good. I grab the Luke tape and add it to the pile. I'll have time to listen to at least one of these tapes before Ethan gets back. I close the door to the hidden room and carry my stack of tapes to Dr. Hale's office. I stash them in the bottom drawer of her desk, where I found the scissors last night. I select one of them at random and pop it into the tape recorder. My finger hesitates over the play button. I desperately want to listen to these tapes, but there's one thing I need to do first. I get up and close the door to the office. Okay, now I can listen. Chapter 19. Transcript of recording. This is session number 89 with GW, a 68-year-old widow experiencing paranoid delusions. Hello, Dr. Hale. Please have a seat, Gail. Oh, yes, of course, I'm sorry. Don't apologize. I want you to be comfortable when we're talking. Yes, I know. I just feel like. Are you okay? You seem especially anxious today. Your hands are shaking. I just. Are you taking the medications I prescribed? No, I'm afraid not. How come? Well, I know you're going to tell me I'm being paranoid if I tell you this. Tell me. I think my pharmacist is trying to kill me. Gail, I know. You think I'm crazy. You think I'm paranoid. But this time it's true. I mean, he's a pharmacist. It would be so easy for him to do it. He could just swap out my pills for something else. Why would you think he wants to kill you? It's the way he looks at me. I can't describe it. And after he handed me the bag with my pills in it, he winked at me. So? Don't you see, Dr. Hale? He was winking at me because he knew there was something bad in the pill bottles. Maybe he was just being friendly or even flirting. No, definitely not. Why would he want to kill you? Who knows? Because he's a psychopath. You know, people are walking around out there who are just crazy. They don't need a reason to kill you. They just do it because they're crazy. Gail, I need you to take your medications. But I can't. Do you see what I'm saying? If I take those pills, I'm going to die. Do you remember when you thought the mailman was trying to kill you? Gail, was he actually trying to kill you? I'm still not sure. I mean, it's possible. He was always outside my house at the same time, right outside my door, peeking in. He was delivering your mail, Gail. There was something funny about it. The mailman was not trying to kill you, and your pharmacist is not trying to kill you. You really need to take the medications that I prescribed. That's what my son says too. So there you go. You should listen to him. But think about it, Dr. Hale. If I were to die, my son would get a big insurance payoff, so he doesn't mind if the pharmacist kills me. Gail, listen. You have to try to recognize that this. Yes? Hold on. My phone buzzed. I have to make sure it's not an emergency with one of my patients. It's Dr. Hale? Hang on. Dr. Hale, is everything okay? What does your text message say? I'm sorry, Gail. I'm afraid we're going to have to reschedule our appointment. An emergency has just come up. Chapter 20, Adrian. Before. I stare at the screen of my phone. It was horribly unprofessional of me to tell Gail to leave right in the middle of a session, but I didn't have a choice. I read the words on the screen for the 5th time. Hi, Doc. I have a little video I took of you from a parking lot in the Bronx. I thought you might enjoy watching it. The message came from EJ. I didn't delete his number from my phone after I terminated him as a patient. I wish I had, but it doesn't matter. I have a feeling he would have found a way to get me this message. Below the message is a link to a video. I haven't watched it yet. The image on the screen is of me, frozen in time, dressed in the white blouse and gray suit I wore to the free clinic the other day. My hair is whisked behind my head, although it had come partially loose during my hike from my parking spot to the clinic. I remember that moment in time, and I remember what happens next. I can't bring myself to watch it, but I must. I take a deep breath and tap my finger on the video to start it. Immediately, the image of myself unfreezes. The camera follows me for a couple of seconds, then zooms in as I pause in front of a red Jetta. That asshole took my parking spot. The quality of the video is excellent. Naturally, EJ would have the most expensive phone money could buy. You can see the license plate of the car in perfect detail. You can see me fumble around in my purse for something. Then you can see me bend down beside the back tire of the Jetta and look both ways to make sure nobody is watching me. For a split second, the camera catches the glint of a knife in the sunlight just before it sinks into the tire. Oh my god. They deserved it. It sounds worse than it is. I was late to a clinic where my patients' lives depend on me. The parking spot was mine. I signaled to take it. He stole it from me, so he committed the crime first. I was simply retaliating. And yes, I carry a knife in my purse. Sometimes the clinic lets out late. It's not the best neighborhood. I suppose I could carry a can of mace. I choose to carry a knife. Slashing that tire was the wrong thing to do. I should have allowed my anger at that man's rude. I should not have allowed my anger at that man's rude and selfish behavior to get the best of me. I should have taken the high road, and I had no idea anyone was watching me. I jump in my chair as another text message appears on my phone. The message comes from the same number. I can see the headline now. Best-selling author, psychiatrist slashes tires in parking lot. I swallow. He's not wrong that this will make a compelling headline, one that has the potential to destroy me, and it's all on video. My hands are trembling as I type a reply. It takes me 3 tries to get it right. What do you want? His reply comes almost instantly. I'm outside your front door. An icy sensation slides down my spine. I always laughed at people like Paige and Gloria when they suggested I needed a home security system. I always felt safe here, but when I stare down at the words on my phone, I no longer feel safe. I'm not sure I ever will again. I'm outside your front door? I glanced behind me at the window. The sun dropped in the sky over the last hour, and it's now dark outside. I stand up abruptly from my leather chair so quickly that it glides across the room.
slamming into the wall behind me. I can't ignore these messages. I've known EJ for a long time, and he will not let this go. I take my phone with me to the front door, clutching it in my left hand, much the way Paige did when she came to visit. I consider calling 911, but quickly rule it out. EJ has done nothing wrong. Yes, he is on my property, but I have no evidence that I terminated him as a patient. He has not reached my front door, and if he shows the police that video of me, my career is over. He's calling the shots. My front door is constructed from the same deep brown wood as the desk in my office, mahogany, I believe, broken up by two opaque panes of glass. There's a lock and deadbolt on the door, but only a few feet away. There's a window that could easily be shattered with a rock. I pass the window on the way, and I can make out the shadow in the front of my door. I stand there for a moment, hesitating until my phone vibrates in my hand. Why are you just standing there, Doc? Open the door for me. I grit my teeth. I twist open the deadbolt, then turn the lock. I take a quick, calming breath, remembering that I know EJ better than he knows me. I know all his strengths and weaknesses. He's intelligent and manipulative, but he's also impulsive. He may have caught me in a moment of weakness, but I can outsmart him. I yank open the door, and there he is, wearing a Michael Kors jacket, no doubt purchased with his wealthy parents' money. His sun-streaked blonde hair is slightly disheveled. Blonde hair like Ethan. And he has a smirk on his lips. EJ is handsome, that's undeniable, although he's on the shorter side, which gives him a bit of a Napoleon complex. During the time I've been treating him, he has been in relationships of varying length, anywhere from one night to 6 months, with countless women. The one night stands got off easy. I pity any woman whose path crossed with this man. Aren't you going to invite me in, Doc? He asks. I don't want him in my house, but again, I have little choice in the matter, so I step back and allow him in to saunter inside. You got such a nice place here, Doc. EJ comments like he's seeing it for the first time. Nice furniture, too. You have great taste. Is that real leather? What do you want? I say through my teeth. He takes a step back, blinking at me. Hey, Doc, come on. Don't be upset at me. Don't be upset at you. My right hand balls into a fist, while my left still clutches my phone. You were following me. You recorded me without my consent. I wasn't following you. It was a coincidence. Like many people, EJ has a tell. I know when he's lying. A little muscle under his right eye twitches whenever he tells a lie. It's twitching now, but it's not like I wouldn't know he was lying. How could he possibly just happen to run into me at a strip mall an hour away from here? But it doesn't matter. Whether or not he was following me, he has the video. I hug my chest. What do you want? Look, EJ forces his gray eyes on me. I don't want to make trouble for you, Doc, I swear. I just felt like you were really helping me, and I was sad when you gave up on me. All I want is to start our sessions again. My jaw falls open. You want to start sessions again with me. That's right. The thought of being alone in the therapy room with EJ makes my skin crawl. I don't think that's appropriate. Let me refer you to one of my colleagues. I can pay the bill for your sessions. There are a few psychiatrists from my training that I would love to voice this guy off on. It would be my pleasure. But EJ shakes his head. No, you already offered that, and it's not what I want. You and I were making great progress. You're the best. I want you. I really feel like I've gone as far as I can with you. I disagree. I bite the inside of my cheek. The metallic taste of blood fills my mouth. Fine, 2 sessions a month. We were doing once a week before. I don't have that many openings in my schedule anymore. He clucks his tongue. I don't know, Doc. Maybe you should make an opening then. I can do this. I can sit with this man for an hour once a week and pretend to listen to his problems. I've done it worse. Fine, I say, but that's it, okay? EJ holds up his hands. That's all I want, just an hour of your time once a week, so I can get better. I won't ask for anything else, I promise. As he says the words, the muscle under his right eye twitches. Oh, he's lying. Okay, well, we'll pick it up on chapter 21 tomorrow.
And I can tell you that this is called Chapter 21, Transcript of Recording. And it says, this is session number 138 with EJ, 29-year-old man with narcissistic personality disorder. So we're going to find out what EJ has to say on his next session, maybe with the doc, or, yeah. So, wow, what did you think of that? And she's like, they're giving all these clues, like that it's Ethan, that it's an E, that she won't say his name, like that, but she says Gail's name, that he has, that he's on the shorter side, and so is Ethan. That's what Trisha says. I don't know. I guess all we need is the doctor to say he has a Roman nose, and the wine thing. But I mean, like theoretically, it could be somebody else, but it's button my shirt here. I love the way that that it hops from, like, sometimes she's listening to the recordings in the same room where they were recorded. And so and then you see the woman's experience, Adrian, in that same place in the house that it happened, that you can hear on the tape. And then it go to present day, and that's like, who is Ethan? And it's like, yeah. It reminds me of what is it? What is the movie I'm thinking of? I forget. Like there was a movie where somebody they were communicating with someone in the past, and they were able to like mark or something in the house, like at the time. Like, maybe it'll come to me, but I don't know. I like that element of it. Could be video to find yet. And then there's that one tape with Luke, but I think that they alluded to Luke having some like installed security system to his mom. So maybe Luke was there installing a security system. Like, I don't know. Was it Beetlejuice? I haven't seen that in so long. It could be, I guess. But yeah, I can't remember. There's a lot of interesting like time travel movies, because it's such a fun concept to, ponder. Archive 81 vibes. I don't know. I don't recall exactly what that is. I'll see if I think of it. I'll think about it before tomorrow. Yeah. Anyway, we're flying by with this book. So these are always fun ones. Especially I love that it's a little bit scary because it is going to be October. Terry might be already in October. Of course, there's a debate tomorrow, but I don't know what time it's on. I'll be here reading. Where is the debate, actually? Who's moderating? Usually it comes down to the moderator. I'm like, I don't know. You would think everybody would be prepared, but you know what I mean? Like, I would imagine it's like one of the 3-letter networks. So, your favorite month? Nothing about it. Yeah. I'll be here reading chapter 21. So, I did watch Challengers last night, so I'm not going to watch it tonight. I didn't totally get it, but maybe you have to be like in the mood for it. But I was kind of just wanting to check it off my list of wine to see, since it ended up on Amazon. I didn't really get it. Um, can't remember the movie now that Netflix had. I was thinking of watching. Maybe it'll come to me. See, oh, NBC. Okay. I can't believe I can't come up with the movie that it was. Could it have been that one with Sandra Bullock, The Lake House? I don't know. Anyway, I will think about it. I love you.